Good morning guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to the emergency storage shed. We are up to episode 103 and we're getting further back into this shed. The next thing on the bottom of that pile we're working on is a TV. So we're going to test a TV today, an old CRT TV. Hopefully it doesn't take too much time. We might get something else once we process that. And of course, processing is a code word for making decisions. I don't want TVs here. They take up room. I've saved them when I've been doing cleanups over the last 20 years. Every time I found an old CRT TV or a computer monitor or anything of interest for that matter, I've stashed it aside thinking, that might appreciate in value, or I might use that one day. Well, I'm not going to do that, but it may have gone up a bit in value. I'm not sure. I've probably had it for 5 or 6 years, maybe longer. It's a Mitsubishi. It has the remote. And I think this one was a 19-inch screen or 48 centimetre, which are the size that the arcade game cabinets take, I believe. So if nothing else, the actual picture tube itself may be useful. But these old TVs do have a market for people that like to play the retro games. And they are quite sought after if they're in working condition. Now this one's a bit dirty on top, and I suspect that I've had possums back in this shed. I did get rid of them initially. Actually, before we built this extension, I had possums in the wall. I managed to get rid of them, but I suspect one might have moved back in here, and hope he hasn't damaged stuff. In fact, that looks like there's been something crawling through the shed, leaving its mark. So it's a bit dirty on top. That will clean up okay. We need to test it out, so let's get it through to the bench. If we can make a quick decision on that, we'll look at getting something else out of here. But the good thing is that we will expose a little bit more concrete floor. Possums or rats? Don't know. Either way, it's one of the pitfalls of having a storage shed full where you can't get into it. So that's another reason to get it emptied out, because I don't want my valuable stuff trashed by animals that leave a mess. The remote that was sitting on top of this TV is a Samsung, so it doesn't suit this. So I don't know if I've got a remote for this Mitsubishi, but we'll give it a bit of a wipe over so it's easier to handle, and we'll probably plug it in, power it up, see if it comes to life. Okay, it's mostly just dusty other than a bit of mess at the front here. Of course, it was protected from the big stack of boxes that were on top of it. There's a sticker here that says next test due, and it's dated 2002. I would expect this TV would date to the 90s, perhaps early 90s. And hopefully it still works. Okay, just brushing some spider webs off it. The case is actually in pretty good condition. There's no cracks or damage. I'm not going to go to too much trouble cleaning because it might not work. It might not be worth fixing. We might scrap it. Probably not. The details here tells us it's a model CT-20AM1S bracket AP. I'm not sure what all that means. It's written up there as well. Now sometimes from the model number you can tell what size screen it is, and I don't think this does give us any clues. And as far as outputs or inputs go, we've only got an antenna jack, so there's no component, there's no SCART, it has a provision for it, or AV sockets, but yeah, I don't know if the circuit board allows for it. Sometimes people can modify these to suit what they want. I think the RGB input is desirable, but we just have a basic aerial input here. So anyway, let's turn it back over. I'll wipe the screen down and we'll power it up. Okay, quick clean. It looks much more presentable. Let's plug it into the appliance tester and power it up and turn it on. What's wrong with that switch? Nothing seems to be happening, and the switch doesn't feel like it clicks. Unless it's just a light. Is that the switch? It felt more like a switch. That's confusing. It feels like it's turning on, but I'm not hearing any noises. Oh, it's a double switch. So that's just a little touch button, and that's a major sort of switch. I heard it boot up. Here we go. So we have a, do they call that a raster? Someone can comment on that if you know, because I've heard it referred to as a raster. I don't actually know what that means, so feel free to explain that in the comments. But that's what I expect to see on the TV, although you're probably getting some strobing through the camera. No strobing here, but that's what I expect to see on the TV with no antenna. So that's looking quite promising. Weird that it's got two switches, because that definitely works as a switch. Yep, and this one is like a main switch. Oh, it's very strange. Okay, well, it appears to work. I should try and hook up a VCR or something and see if we can get a picture through it. So I don't really want to turn this video into a TV repair video, but I'm going to have a look. I've got the VCR plugged in and it's playing, and I found the channel 6, I think, that seems to connect to the VCR, but I can't get a picture, and I've got no sound at all, and even on the other channels there's no sound. So something's going up with that TV, and I assume, I can't work out how to do tracking on this old Panasonic, but when I do various functions, it does indicate on the screen that something's happening, but it's like either the tracking's way out on the video or there's something, I need to retune the TV, and the only controls I've got on the TV are channel up and down and volume up and down, which all work fine. Oh, that's channel. And the volume up and down, I can't get any noise out of it at all. So something's going on there. We don't have any controls on the back either. There's no extra little panels here that I can see. I'm going to go to the shop and see if I've got a remote for one of these old Mitsubishi TVs. I might be able to do some adjustments, or, you know, check. I wouldn't be on mute, surely. If it was on mute, it would give you a symbol on this screen, surely. So I'll go and see if I can find a remote, see if I can get anywhere with it, but I might have to pull the cover off the TV and just see if I can notice any obvious problems. I found a remote and put new batteries in it, and it works beautifully, and it does bring the TV to life, and we can change more things than what we can do from the actual TV itself. But I'm still getting nothing through on channel 6, or on the channel that the video should be running through. And with the volume, there is a mute button on the remote. Where is it? Here, and it actually says mute. So I think there's something wrong with the TV. So we'll pull the cover off that and see if we can work out why we've got no sound, and maybe there's some sort of tuning section we can access just to tune the video in properly.
Well, there are no hippopotamuses.
Great news, guys. Let me turn the volume. In fact, I can mute it. And I'll pan away because we've got strobing. The TV works perfectly. I did a little bit of Googling, and apparently to tune these TVs in, we needed the remote, yes, and there's a preset button which you hold down and then it will go through a bit of a search function. I had the video player running, and as soon as it found the signal, it brought the sound straight on. So obviously there's something in the circuitry of the TV that doesn't allow sound when you don't have a signal. So you don't get the hiss when you get the that white snow or the raster or whatever they call it. So TV works great. I now have a good remote. It just shows you this is why I keep any old remotes that I find. And it works nice, goes through all the functions. And the TV, even though the picture, if we just look back at it quickly, is a little bit, other than the strobing, it's a little bit unstable. I'm pretty sure that's the video player down here that I'm using as a test, because that was filthy dirty, and it's one that I haven't actually even tested before. So it does work, but I'll guarantee the heads are going to be dirty. So there we go. TV is good. We can now take that to the shop and sell it. What's it worth? Probably not enormous amounts, because it only has it doesn't have all the inputs that the retro gamers like. But yeah, I think we'll put $50 on it all the same. You probably can get adapters. Maybe it can be modified. You saw in the back panel there is provision for inputs. It's just that they weren't installed on this model. So the circuit board may be easy to modify. Don't know. I'm going to put it in the shop though for $50, and I might run some videos through it just for old time's sake. A bit of nostalgia. Well, seeing so that TV didn't take long to do, we might as well go and see if we can find something else. to take out of the emergency storage shed. So as mentioned, once we got to the floor here, I thought we might start on this cabinet, which obviously means getting some stuff off the top. I don't want to tackle another box just yet. What do we have up here? We have the Australia Post box, there's a black tub, and there's a clear plastic tub. I have no idea what's in them. I haven't had a look. They're all reasonably heavy because I tried to move them before. I think we'll get that jerry can down off the top. That will be empty. And up above those other old TVs and monitors, there's a little timber shelf unit. We've got to get those off before we get these tubs down. Maybe we will have a look in this Australia Post tub just to see what's coming up. Whether well, there's a gas cylinder on top. I don't think we're going to go through it unless it's really easy, but we'll have a peek so we know what's coming up next week anyway. Everything's down now. I had to pull a couple of tubs out of the box. My shoulders couldn't lift it from up that high. So the nice shelf unit here would be a great display for little matchbox cars or small tins or something. So we may use it at the shop, but I may also have a spot for it here because it will help me get organised with sorting out little parts and things. I know I have a lot of parts drawers, but I don't think I'll sell that. I think it will find a use, maybe at the shop actually. The jerry can I will keep, and that's a good heavy duty plastic fuel can, 20 litres. I could easily sell it if I didn't want it, but I'll hang on to that one. The box actually looks like a lot of paint. There's some car polishing wax. This is a rubber matting. So there's some workshop consumables, some electrical tape. So I'll go through that. I'll probably keep some. Not sure if I'll keep it all, and whatever I don't want I'll probably take to the shop. In these little ice cream containers, this one we have a real mixed bag of just workshop stuff. So I'll go through that on the bench shortly once I move the TV. We'll work out what to do with that. And this looks to be a set of scales that's been dismantled. So they're nice old Hughes family scale in pounds. And it's been dismantled. I'm not sure if it's all there or not. And it also looks very oily. So we might give that a clean up and see if we can put it back together. Perhaps we might leave that one as a carryover for next week. But we'll sort out the paints. We'll sort out this little tub of stuff. And we'll keep those shelves and we'll keep the jerry can. And that processes another box. Plus the other two things off the top. So next week, whatever is in that black tub we will address, and if it's a quick job we will then do the clear plastic tub behind it to get the top shelf finished on this rack, and then we'll move down. And it won't take too many weeks to get through this stuff, I don't think, and then that rack can come out and there'll be even more space in here. Back on the bench now, let's go through this box quickly and make some decisions. That rubber matting will certainly be useful. It's quite soft. It's decent thickness. Definitely going to hang on to that. You know the old saying, it'll be handy one day. Okay, Cabot's Danish oil. I've used Danish oil before. It's great on timber, so I'm going to keep that. Some gloss black. That feels okay. What's this one? Gloss Master. That might be a bit... don't know. It's gold. That's the nice old gold look paint. So... not sure if it's dried up or not, but I'll hang on to that one because sometimes you just want a little bit on a fine brush to do some lettering or something. There's some 100-mile-an-hour tape. We'll hang on to that. An aerosol here, just an auto touch-up. Oh, it's still got some in it. I wonder if it's got any gas in it though. No, no good at all. That'll have to go in the bin. Now our transfer stations do, some of them take paint, but I took a load when I was cleaning up the farm and the guy said fine as long as they're all cans. He said if you've got aerosols they can't handle them. He said they have to put them in the landfill. So I suppose if they're empty they could go in the recycle bin, but that one's not empty. Swedish oil, I guess that's like Danish oil but like next door. Hames is a good Australian paint brand, so we'll certainly hang on to that one. The car polishing polishing wax, protects and shines. I'll use that, and that actually brings Bakelite up beautiful once you've given it a polish. This one is metal primer red oxide. That feels all right. Another metal primer. Yep, that's nearly full. Pot belly black. All right, so that's a matte black for painting. I presume it's heat resistant. Yeah, it says heat resistant. And that feels nearly full. We'll hang on to that in case I need that for something. Well, most of these stains, this is new maple. Most of these stains I will hang on to, because when I'm doing some timber work, I do like to use stains. Varnish, interior varnish stain. Cabots, that was $16, and that was probably a long time ago. And that's near full. So this must have been the wood stain and oil section of my old workshop. I think these came from my old shed, and I would have scored these out of people's houses. I mean sheds. And that one's either dried up or it's empty, so that can go out. And teak, that's near full again, traditional stain. So I've kept these because I've always done a little bit of woodwork, and if I start restoring old radio timber cases and that sort of stuff, I'm going to need some of this. Colour sampler, that's a base mission brown. It's nearly full, but I don't think I want to keep mission brown. I can't see myself painting anything that colour. And a basic Estopol. Not really ideal for proper restorations, but it's handy for sealing timber. And I recently had to make a shelf for my girl's cafe, and I just used up 2 or 3 old cans of Estopol just to seal it. So it's good for jobs like that. We have some Brasso, and that's full. It feels okay. It is an older one, but we'll use that. 3-in-1 oil, and it's totally empty. And another oil here, this is diff oil, so a gear oil, and that feels full. I don't know if I've got any gear oil here, so we'll hang on to that for now. Okay, well that empties that box. I'll have to find somewhere to stack all these because I don't want them in my road in the shed. I have a cupboard where I have some paints, so well the oil goes in a different spot, but a lot of my paints I've got a place to store them. The other thing we got down was this old Primus gas bottle. It's got a little blowtorch burner on it. The bottle itself is it's actually empty, and I've turned the tap on. There's nothing in it at all, but the bottle is super heavy, so I'd say that's a very heavy gauge steel bottle. I think I'll hang on to that because cut in half they make really good crucibles. I'll possibly use the burner anyway on something else, but it's really not much value. I couldn't really sell it because the gas bottle itself is well out of date. And I guess the best I could do otherwise is send it for scrap metal, and the burner will be brass. But I think that's going to be more useful than what it's worth for scrap. So that's dealt with all that. I'll get this off the bench and we'll have a look in this little box. Now this little tub, I don't expect anything of value to come out of it, but we'll go through it and see what's in here. This looks like brand new. Well, they're bigger than chair feet. They would probably, oh, they're actually too big for a walking stick, maybe. Probably table. Big table rubber stoppers. Well, we'll hang on to those. Don't think I need to sell those. Here we have a, looks like an old pet food can. They've gone to the trouble to paint it gold. That's probably cat food. Just a lock off a cupboard, a latch off a kitchen dresser, some various tech screws. They can just go into the assorted jars here. We have a little metal drawer, fuse holders, and that's exactly what's in there. How about that? Don't know where that came from. It's not my writing. So I will distribute those to my containers of fuse holders. I probably won't keep them. I'll probably just put them in a jar and sell them in the shop. And I think I might need that metal drawer. I reckon there's a chest of those little drawers somewhere. There's another fuse holder. Here we have some old Turner hardware. That's a old kitchen dresser type knob, new old stock. There's another one. There's a Turner magnetic catch, probably more 70s that one. I think these ones are more 60s. And another one. And there's similar sort of doorknobs to the black ones, but they're obviously not new old stock, those ones. There's another new one. Cool. More fuse holders. And we have some heavy duty die cast casters. And these ones screw in. They're not the ones that you need the socket that they push into. So we might well use these at the shop, because we do wheel out trolleys out the front every day and put them away every day. And we do have to do a bit of maintenance on the trolleys, because every now and again wheels actually wear out or break off. So those ones will be easy to fit to the bottom of a board and either make a new trolley or repair an old one. So we'll use those. This is a... oh, it's gone hard, so it's no good. It's actually the drain pipe from a washing machine down to the pump. So that one's no good at all. Can go in the rubbish. Here's some brand new, I think they call these pig's tails. They're connections from a gas regulator to a gas bottle. So they're left-hand thread to go in your standard gas bottle fitting. And so they're brand new. I think I could probably sell those, because we actually don't have town gas in town here. We still have to use bottles. And I guess a camper would probably use these as well, maybe even for a caravan. So they will certainly sell. So we will get some money back out of this tub. I'm not sure what they're worth. I'll check that out. Oh, cool. These are little brass. They're nickel-plated brass. Very Art Deco little bases. I'm not sure what would have been on them. But yeah, they'd be 1920s or 30s. I don't know what would have been on them. They're too small for a lamp base. Not sure, but I think we could sell those. Someone will have a use for them. And just in the bottom we have a few more fuse holders that fell out of that drawer. And a couple of fuses. And some very rusty old washers. So that's it. We actually did get some value out of here. I think I could sell these Turner knobs still in their packets at $5 each. Being genuine sort of 60s era Australian made hardware. It's always nice seeing them in the original packets. So I reckon we'll go $5 each on those. I don't think people use these magnetic catches so much. I think I'll just put them in the dollar box at the shop. And these ones, well, they're a bit rusty, but someone might be looking to match that colour. And I do have a jar of assorted retro hardware at the shop for $1 a pick, so won't write down anything for those, but I reckon given original packets, we can try and get $5 each for those. And here was I thinking we wouldn't need the notepad this week with just a TV for $50. And look what else we've added. We've actually made another $50 out of that little ice cream container. So $100 return, potentially. I checked out these copper pipe pigtails. They're fairly expensive to buy. I saw some of them for over $50 each new. Admittedly, they were actually a bit longer than these ones. But I think we should be able to get $10 each for those. They are new old stock. They're just a little bit tarnished. The 3 doorknobs or cupboard knobs, if we go 5 each, as 15. If we go 5 each for those brass deco stands or whatever they are, I think we'll get $10 for that. And I thought, why not put $5 on a jar of fuse holders? I'm sure someone will have a use for those, even if they buy it just for 1 or 2. And that equals another $50. Amazing. So I've got a few little bits here, just the $1 stuff, the feet off the table, which I'll probably use at the shop one day on an old table, and the wheels we will use. I'll keep the metal drawer because I think I'll need that for a set of drawers I've got here. We'll carry over the scales to next week. So how about that? A good working TV. We got rid of an extra box and a couple of other bits, another $50. So potentially $100 return yet again from the emergency storage shed. So that was great to make a lot of room this week. The TV's off the floor. We've started on that racking. We've nearly got, well, there's 2 tubs on the top, but we've got a lot of stuff gone this week. Some good value again for the shop, some interesting stock. The TVs are always cool. I like having them in there, particularly when they're going. I hear so many people say, remember the old big heavy TVs? And then of course the kids can't ever remember TVs like that. So I like having them in the shop. And got a few little bits and pieces we'll use as well. So very successful episode. Our $100 takes our total to about $16,300. It just keeps ticking up there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming along again. We'll see you next week in this series. Bye for now.